Once you've signed up for SpeedCurve, you'll want to come into your settings and really add a bunch more URLs and a bunch more sites so that you can really get the most out of monitoring your user experience. So at the top here, we can see the site that you signed up with, and we can come in here and add some more URLs. So we can go add URL. I'm just going to grab another one here for The Verge. And the labels here are really important for grouping together different URLs and allowing you to compare those on the benchmarking dashboard. Also, if you have basic authentication on your site, you can add a username and password here. And if you're on one of our enterprise plans, you'll be able to add a web page test script here and add multiple steps to your URL, or log into a form, or add an item to a cart. All those sorts of actions that are really useful. So we'll save that, and we now have multiple URLs that we're monitoring. You might want to think about which regions are important to monitor from. So I want a location here in Germany, and I also want to find out what's happening down here in Asia Pacific in terms of performance as well. So I'm going to add a few more regions. Browsers, we want to add more of these so that our responsive testing is really useful. So I'm going to come in here, and we have two sections. We have desktop browsers and we have emulated mobile browsers as well. And these are exactly the same configurations that you'd find in the Chrome DevTools. So we emulate device pixel ratio and viewport and user agent string to really match what an actual device is like. So I'm going to choose an iPhone 6 here, and I'm going to grab the Samsung Galaxy S3, and I can save that. And that's now added a couple of extra browsers. Now, you would have also seen there that down the bottom we have a custom browser profile. And this is if you really want to get in under the hood and change all the settings yourself. So we recommend leaving it on Chrome because that's what we use to do all the emulation. And if we want, we can come in here and we can choose from some of the presets, or we can even go to custom. And this is where you can edit user agent string, the width and the height, and the device pixel ratio. And this is really great if you want to emulate a whole lot of different widths, not only for devices, but for responsive testing as well. And then likewise, I can also choose speeds. So I might want to emulate a fiber connection here, something really fast, or I might want to drop down to mobile 2G, or I could go even slower here by choosing custom and adjusting things like the latency to really emulate all sorts of different connection types. And then I can give that a name. Really slow 2G, and I can add that specific browser profile in. Then I'll probably want to monitor at more times per day. I'll just pop another one in here, and we can add that. And so once we've got some of these basic settings up and running, we'll then want to add more sites as well. And adding more sites is really important from a benchmarking point of view. So here I'm going to grab a URL for just the TechCrunch homepage, and we'll compare these two sites to each other. TechCrunch, and the label here was home, so that I can compare it across sites. And you'll see here that once you start adding more sites, that you have some options about whether this site should just inherit all the settings that we have at the account level, so all the browsers that we just added and the regions and the times, or you can be more specific. So we can turn that off and go, do you know what, for this site, I actually just want to measure it in that really slow browser that we just kind of built for ourselves. And we can choose things like, do we want all regions? I'm going to say yes to that. And maybe times per day, let's just monitor it at kind of just midday. And that means that you can have different sites set up in different ways. So you might have a development site that you want to monitor lots of times per day. And then for your competitive benchmarking, you might just want to do that one time per day. So this is how you set that up. And now that I've added multiple sites, that's really going to help bring things alive. once I start building up some data. And this is an example of having multiple sites with a bit of history, and you can see how useful it is to compare that user experience across these different sites. And you can use things like the film strip view to really motivate other team members or even your kind of CEO to go, hey, look, we're this much kind of faster or slower than a competitor. We really need to do some work on our performance. And also, if you've added multiple browser types, you'll be able to really make the most of the responsive dashboard that really shows you what's happening across all those different viewports. And also design-wise, you get to see how your responsive design is really kind of working across all those viewport and different browser types as well. So that's the basics of getting SpeedCurve up and running. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to support, and we'll be creating some more videos to get into some of the other settings like how to set up budgets and custom metrics and things like that.